Host, guests, and call-in participants. These do not necessarily represent the views of this show's distributors or sponsors. This program may contain obscene, profane, or otherwise objectionable language. Viewer discretion is advised. Howdy ho, everybody. Coming to you cordless from glamorous Minneapolis. It's Wednesday night, May 6th, 2026. I am Jim Peters, and welcome to another edition of Jim Peters at Night. This is episode number 348, if you're keeping score at home. So we have, our guest tonight is Solomon Schmidt, and Solomon has written the first biography of J.K. Rowling that's going to be released in June, and he joins us from, he joins us by phone from his van in Kentucky on the highway. Hi, Solomon. How you doing?
Hi, Jim. That might sound a little suspect to people if they're listening, but I'm on my way to I was saying to you before we got on, I'm on my way to a conference in the great state of Tennessee, and I'm actually speaking about J.K. Rowling on Friday. So I'm paused at a rest area right now because I wanted to make sure to be able to talk with you in a place with stable connection. So thanks for having me on.
Hey, my pleasure. I'm really glad you can do this. Now, your book isn't coming out till June 30th, if I'm right. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. It should even be a week sooner than that, June 23rd. So we're getting that date fixed right now. But at the end of June, so just a few weeks away.
Now, people can't see you, so I have to bring this up. You're 22 years old. You've published 10 books. I'm 70, and I've published exactly 0 books, Solomon.
You know what? There's still time. I have a friend who's 93. I have a friend who's 93 years old. Her name's Verlyn Flieger. She is the world's one of the leading scholars on J.R.R. Tolkien, the author of Lord of the Rings, and she is still publishing books at 93. So, there's
I have
time.
the feeling that you and I figured out the same thing, though. You know, I figured out if I didn't want to talk about myself, the best way is to talk about other people.
The problem is there's so many interesting people to talk about.
Yes, you're absolutely right.
Including, you'd be hard-pressed to find a more interesting person than J.K. Rowling.
That's absolutely correct. Matter of fact, I'm surprised that you are the first person to do a biography on her. Did you stumble into that idea, or how did that come about?
Yeah, and I don't mean to correct you at all, Jim, but actually what happened was I looked for resources on J.K. Rowling as part of investigation for a tour I lead in England and Scotland. I was doing research for that. I guide guests around to London and Oxford and Edinburgh and different cities in the UK themed around Tolkien, Lord of the Rings author, C.S. Lewis of the Chronicles of Narnia, and J.K. Rowling. And when I put together that tour itinerary back in the early 2020s, I was stunned to find that the only book available about J.K. Rowling was from 25 years ago. It was totally inaccurate, totally out of date. No offense to the author, who I'm sure is a nice guy, but he was working with limited information at the time. And I thought, this is just unconscionable. There has to be a complete biography on J.K. Rowling. And if no one's doing it, then I guess I have to. And my publisher was very enthusiastic about it. And that sort of set me off on the course of the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, how could you not be? I mean, Solomon, you're going to sell a shitload of books. You just are. I mean, this is. I have to know. I'm going to
thanks to people like you, Jim.
My pleasure. But I'm going to start this here. I want to tell you a story I have, so I'm going to talk for a few minutes here, and then I want you to tell me how accurate this is. I have always used J.K. Rowling and Harry Potter as an example of the fact that nobody knows anything. And here's my particular point of view on this. All right, this woman's writing this book in cafes. She's stone cold broke. She finishes a book. She sends it to 42 different publishers, basically the biggest publishers on earth. They all turn it down, even though most of the replies she got back said, "I enjoyed this book, but I don't think this will sell." She finally got Scholastic in the United States to do it. They've never put out a fiction book before. They're basically textbook publishers. The whole thing blows up. And the thing to me, it's just proof of the fact that, these people, these publishers, it's their job to find hits. And this is the first book of the series is a single best-selling book in human history, and nobody caught it. I just find this amazing. If I was running one of these publishers, I would have brought everybody in from the department in my office and fired everybody. First of all, is my story accurate?
Oh, you know what? The substance of it is spot on. Single mother and on welfare, broken, down and out in her luck, sends it off to tons of publishers who don't want it, makes big, and then never looks back from there. There's a lot of different. One of the things that was tough for me, Jim, was there are so many resources about J.K. Rowling, so many myths, to be quite frank, that it was my job to kind of figure out what is accurate as far as we know. The amazing thing about her is the legends are true. The rags to riches, the welfare to billionaire, that aspect of her story, which seems too good to be true or out of a movie, is true.
Yeah, that's the reason I brought it up, because I want to know how accurate that is, So
yeah, and the number of publishers, I'm not trying to quibble with you.
No, please.
People debate about the exact number of publishers. You'll hear all the time 12 publishers rejected it. We don't really know the exact number, but we do know Penguin turned it down, Orion turned it down, large publishers turned it down. We know that literary agents in the UK turned it down. We even know the substance of their letters to J.K. Rowling in rejection. So that's all included in the book. And I really dive deep into her struggle through poverty, dealing with domestic abuse and single motherhood. And there was just so much emotional content to work with there, so much heartache that she dealt with as a person, which was very difficult to read about, but ultimately uplifting, because the story of Harry Potter, as you probably know, is a story of overcoming evil. And J.K. Rowling had, for a long time, a fairy tale ending to her story. She basically won the lottery and now has, as far as we can tell, a happy family, three children, a really great marriage, as far as any of us can tell, yachts, mansions. She certainly, her legacy and public image have taken a marked change in the last 7 years. Tells us that. She says that writing that while she was on welfare in poverty in Edinburgh, she was writing that as wish fulfillment for what she wished could be true for her own life. And then, of course, it became true for reasons they feel very passionate, racist. And again, it wasn't my place to adjudicate that, but simply to spell out what happened. So I go into the book pretty in depth into what they call the cancel culture, the attempts to all but erase J.K. Rowling from many spheres of public life. And whether or not that's deserved, people can read the book and find out for themselves. I go into the whole origins of why she spoke out about this. Also, the fact that she initially supported transgender rights in a speech in 2016 in America. A lot of people are not aware of that. So what happened there?
Yeah.
What made her switch? And this is a significant question to me, Jim. For someone who was the mother goddess of the left, I mean, so beloved that people would fall down in sobs when they saw her in person for the first time. She was absolutely adored by the left. This is the person who came out and told the world that Dumbledore was homosexual, was gay. And although she's gotten blowback for that, that was a seminal moment in the LGBTQ plus rights movement. So this is J.K. Rowling, who was the Time magazine finalist in 2007, who was Britain's most influential woman. Why does this lady, working, moving, influencing, and being adored in left-wing circles, why does she deliberately and knowingly tank her legacy and reputation, and is now a revered figure by the exact opposite side of the aisle from what she had supported and been involved in and been known for and associated with for decades? And I had a similar question with my previous book, which was on Alan Dershowitz.
Well, hold it just a second. I have to stop you there, because I was going to ask you about that. So you talked Dershowitz at the age of 20. You did the authorized biography of Dershowitz, and he has wonderful things to say about you. And how the hell did you talk him into that? That's amazing.
Well, it's funny. I'm not trying to brag here.
No, please do. You're 22 years old. You published 12 books. I mean, shit. You can brag.
It relates to. No, I appreciate that, Jim. It relates directly to your question, though. First time I met Alan Dershowitz in person, one of the first things he asked me was, "So, what publisher is going to take my authorized biography from an 18-year-old?"
Yeah.
And he wasn't really asking it in a mean way. It's just we got down to business, and I presented my plan.
That's a legitimate question.
I have to point out that this. I had to point out that I was helped very early on. I started my research into Dershowitz's life by interviewing people who had taught him or worked with him. And one of the people I interviewed was a guy named Harvey Silverglate, who is one of America's premier First Amendment attorneys. And Harvey helped connect me with Alan and convince Alan to trust me. Alan at first thought I was an FBI agent looking to get dirt on him because he didn't believe the story about me being, this teenager who wrote these books and now wants to do a book on him. So Harvey really helped convince him there. And Alan has made some very positive statements about me, which I appreciate. But one of the interesting things I would say, he cared very much about the objectivity of that book too, so much so that we were at dinner once in Miami. And my father paid the check because my father and I travel a bit together because I'm not old enough to rent a car. So it was me, my father, and Alan.
Jesus Christ, having dinner. Solomon, you aren't old. Well, now you are, but you weren't old enough to rent a car. I didn't even thought of that.
and so we were at this dinner, and Alan and the check came, and my dad took it, and Alan leaned across the table and he said, "I hope you notice I haven't paid for a meal that we've had together yet through the process of this book." He said, "I don't want anyone to have any talking point where they can say I tried to influence you in any way to write positively." In fact, I quoted his enemies so extensively in the book that when he read it, his only soft criticism, if you call it that, was, "Wow, I can't believe how much airtime you gave to Noam Chomsky and Glenn Greenwald and these guys who ripped my views to shreds." He didn't read a single word of the manuscript before it came out. Not one word. Not one.
I'll be damned. Solomon, we have to. Now, we didn't do this on video because we couldn't get the connection to work. I just want the viewers to know that. But you got to come back.
Yeah, and I apologize about that.
That's okay. It happens all the time. You got to come back. We got to do this on video one more time before your book comes out. Are you okay with that?
Oh well, I'd appreciate any support, Jim. So thanks so much for having me, and it's a pleasure to be with you.
I got a ton more questions, but I told you I'd keep this to under half an hour. So. And also we've been looking at J.K. Rowling, the cover of your book, the entire time. So, but it's static.
Oh, wonderful! That's better than my face. Yeah.
No, it isn't.
Maybe it was a good marketing ploy to not have my video call.
It isn't. No.
The book cover could just be in place.
No, I'm hoping hoping the next few weeks we can do this again. Okay, because I got way more to ask you.
Hey, Thanks so much for the time, Jim. I appreciate you making time for me, and glad we could work this out. I'm on the road, but I really wanted to chat with you, so I appreciate it very much.
You can let the other people back into the van now.
Yeah, they're waiting patiently. My sister's actually looking in right now, wondering when we're going to be leaving.
I'll see you. We'll talk, Solomon.
It's me and my family. We've been going to these conferences, Jim, all throughout the United States for the last 10 years. This probably will be our last one ever, but we've done about 50 of them since I was 12 and my older sister was 15. We've gone to probably 50 conferences all throughout the United States selling my books, my History Bites series, and my sister's series, Cecilia Schmidt. She wrote a historical fiction trilogy. So we've gone, oh my gosh, everywhere from Cincinnati out to Denver, down to Mobile, Alabama. Probably have talked to, I don't know, 20 to 30,000 people, probably more. It's got to be more than that. So it's been a real pleasure. All I would say, without trying to sound corny, is the American people are great people.
They are
a stinking awesome country. So it's really great. It's really great to be out seeing our fellow Americans. Not to sound pretentious, but it's just
that's not pretentious at all.
What a great land we have.
You're absolutely right. I couldn't agree more. And yeah, we should mention too, you have a YouTube channel on YouTube called History Bites. Yeah, it's pretty cool too. So, well, Solomon, I'm going to let you go.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you for joining us. Even this was ad hoc, but seriously, we'll talk to you again soon. Okay, you take care.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jim. All the best.
Yeah, you too. Bye bye. Our thanks to Solomon Schmidt for joining us from his van in Kentucky on a Honda. To connect with his iPhone and his laptop, but couldn't do it. This is the primary reason, folks, that we now tape the interview for all sorts of reasons. I mean, it's amazing this damn internet thing works. It really is. Our best to have Solomon back too, so we can actually do it by picture, because we only talked to him for a half an hour, and I had so many more questions left. Comes out on June 30th, so we got a good 6 weeks, 8 weeks. What am I talking about? This is footnotes for Wednesday. Off. No show tomorrow. Next show's on Monday. I don't want to announce the guest yet, but it's actually pretty cool. We got a pretty cool guest. That's going to happen. Any rate, so what happened today? Ted Turner this morning, the founder of CNN and a whole bunch of other stuff, died. We want to mention him mostly because of CNN. So CNN started on June 1st, 1980. And all you youngins who weren't around then, most people don't even remember, is up till that point, cable television was basically a retrans. But you signed up, and what it did is it brought, your local CBS station and your local NBC station put up an antenna. That was the point. CNN was basically, for all practical purposes, I don't think it might have been technically cable-oriented, cable-only channel on cable only. So you actually got it on cable alone. In other words, you couldn't get it through the air. In October, everyone thought it was stupid as hell. Everyone thought this was the stupidest idea ever. You're going to do a whole news network that available on cable television. And it took a while to take off. But in 1991, they were able to broadcast the Iraqi war in real time from Baghdad, and that basically broke the whole thing open. Point on, it was hugely successful. Still to this day, cable CNN is probably in more homes than any other. I think even ESPN, just because of the legacy of it. Virtually every outlet on the planet provides CNN to its audience, and they charge. I think they're paying about $1. I don't know roughly for everything on cable television, but I think it's about 25 cents a month per channel per user or household. Charging about $1. The last I heard, ESPN was charging about $7. It was by far the most expensive. But there's a few cable systems in the United States that have actually dropped ESPN because it's just too damn expensive. So they have to pay, and they can't do it. Not to mention the fact not everybody wants to watch sports. So now it's ESPN has to go directly to consumers, and that's DTC service where you can get an app ESPN directly in there, charging $30 a month for that. But because if you want sports, you want the only I think. I mean, my wife and I, we just dropped our cable service because we realized the only thing we were watching on cable was that. Fox News has an over the top app, and ESPN has an over the top app, and you put way cheaper. We're not watching anything else, and that's true of most people. The only you basically want linear television that matters. It's live, is news and sports. But at any rate, CNN started this. What would that be? 47 for next month. And yeah, people said Turner was a fool, and he had the last laugh on them. Unfortunately, he was forced to sell CNN to Time Warner, and I can't remember what year that was. And then a couple with AOL, which was widely considered one of the worst major mergers of business in the United States in history. That mostly because AOL's dominance was very short-lived, and people in the industry, I mean, hell, even but because it was all based on their dial-up service. So what else you want to know? Okay, so now we're talking about dial-up internet. Yeah, get that old guy off the screen. What the hell? Oh man! All right. And speaking of that, so now the modern news business is basically based on clicks, and then you're talking about how many people, what are people willing to do to get clicks? Well, you got Candace Owens, who's a stone cold crazy person. I mean, she'll do anything for clicks, and she's getting them. I mean, some of her posts get 20 and 30 million views. It's mind-boggling, but she's nuts. I mean, she's playing to the stupidity of the crowd, and it's working. Good for her. But then you got people like Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly, and they've done flip-flops recently. I mean, Tucker's basically come out against Trump after being for Trump for years, and Megyn Kelly's come out. My friend David Strom at Hot Air, he wrote a column about the stay, which is part of the reason I put this on, but I was actually going to talk about this anyway, about the fact that basically Megyn Kelly will go with whatever's popular. Now, the problem here is you have two people who are immensely popular in cable television and were making an enormous amount of money, and then they went out on their own, and they realized, oh my God, this is way harder than I thought it was. Their viewership is nowhere near as what it was on cable TV because there's a good chunk of people who watch Fox News who literally keep it on 10 hours a day. I probably don't have to tell you that. Fox News, I mean, I've said this before, but you have to understand this. Fox News is completely blowing the crap out of every other television network on the planet. It's like, there's nothing in history. There's no historical precedent for their popularity. It's mind-boggling. It's just mind-boggling. I mean, they can run a test pattern and 1 million people would watch it. It's just, there's stuff that, like the Fox and First Thing at 4 o'clock in the morning, they got 1.5 million viewers at 4 a.m. Gutfeld's show, Red Eye, that ran in the middle of the night, literally at 2:30 in the morning, if I'm right, Eastern time, the dead of the night, they were getting 350,000 people watching that, and that was before DVR. So you had to watch it live. You had no point. There were more people watching Red Eye than were watching CNN in prime time. That's how popular Fox News is. So the thing is, Tucker was the most popular thing on Fox News, and he did a pretty good job. It wasn't exactly luck. But everything on Fox News is popular. And then he went off on his own. And he thought, "Holy shit! I don't know what his viewership is now, but it's nowhere near what it was. I know that." And he thinks, "Well, we got to do something." Well, actually, you don't. But that's the way they look at it. Because I guess when you're used to making $10 million a year, 1 million is not good enough. So I got to admit, I can't do it. I can't. So I don't know what's going to happen to me. I have no idea. But I can't say I can't. I'm just, I talk about what I talk about, and that's it. I'm not going to try to think about it. But these people, they're all trying to jockey for position with the audience, and I was thinking about this today. There's a distinct difference between playing to the crowd and editing what you're saying. I understand why you don't, you might want to edit what you're saying not to alienate your core audience, but that's different than playing to the crowd just to get more viewers. You'll do anything just to get more viewers. It's a subtle difference, but it is different. And also on top of this, Nick Fuentes, another person who basically will say anything to take for clicks. He came out today as a Democrat. No, really, seriously? Who would have thought that? What the fuck? You think we're stupid? Apparently you do. And apparently a lot of people are. Like I said, Candace Owens has a huge audience. Huge, even though she's nuts. The stuff she talks about is stone cold crazy. She's even way more to me than Alex Jones. Alex Jones is not nuts. I do disagree with a lot of his positions on stuff, and that stuff he did with Sandy Hook was downright stupid. I mean, it was like, what the hell was he thinking? It was idiocy. But I don't know if he's nuts. So, it's like, I don't know, just it's difference or why, but different strokes for different folks. I don't know. You folks probably don't know this, but this summer in New York State, they're going to legalize assisted suicide. They've had legalized assisted suicide in Canada for 10 years now. And it's been a disaster, basically, because all of a sudden the people in the healthcare industry there, and of course you have to realize that the healthcare industry, if they have a national healthcare system that's run and paid for by the government, which continuously loses money. So they're always trying to figure out ways. If we let elderly people kill themselves, there's a lot less care we have to provide. And so they're basically, I mean, I hate to say this, but they are supposedly, I'm going to qualify this, if for old any excuse to kill themselves. It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. It's like somebody said, it's the slipperyest slope you can imagine. And they're probably going to happen in New York State too, although New York State is not the first state to do this. If I'm right, both Vermont, Oregon, I think legalized assisted suicide, but New York State is the first big one. So it's like, this is a good idea. And the thing is, I know that the people who wanted this originally had good intentions, people who have good reason for maybe wanted to do themselves in there. If this chronic pain because of some accident or something like that, but now this actually made the news because there's a woman who's actually a former actress and was actually in some relatively decent or popular films, and looking to kill herself, even though there's absolutely nothing physically wrong with her. But she says she's suffering from absolutely debilitating mental illness. Family doesn't want her to do it. Her family thinks she can recover from this. Both her psychiatrists think she can. They've said they are both thinks she's doing the wrong thing, but I'll support her no matter what. And I don't understand that. If you actually think she's doing the wrong thing, that's just like, because we're talking about ending somebody's life. I don't know if you know this. Death is very final. You can't come back from it. We on this program, we've talked to a zillion people that have had near-death experiences and stuff like that. It's starting. After talking to all these people, all the reading I've done, it's pretty much obvious what happens after we die. Because it's not nothing. We don't go to nothing. Apparently we go to some alternate dimension or somewhere. I mean, the aliens have figured this out because the people ask, the abductees who ask their alien captors what happened. The thing is, you think this is death, but actually what your life on on Earth isn't life. What happens afterwards is. That's what the going line is. So I don't, and I've heard people say that the whole the whole suicide thing is judged subjectively if you do it. In other words, how good or close were you? There's people who are terminal, uh, who kill themselves 2 weeks before they're going to die. All right, that's okay. And here's my point. My point is, like I said, the people who wanted this had good intentions. It's been abused to hell. I mean, this is what happens. This is what humans do. We corrupt and abuse everything. All good things, that whole thing, all good deeds go unpunished. No good deed goes unpunished. That's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. So I have very complex feelings about this. On the one hand, there's a few people who have legitimate reasons to do this. Especially Canada seems to show this. The vast majority of people don't. So, and who's to decide, and all who am I to decide? And then on top of that, yeah, you should have a dominion over your own body. If you really want a woman, she's attempted to kill herself several times unsuccessfully, all sorts of ways, drugs, uh, for her. And so that brings us to teen teachers having sex with students. I don't know how that we get to that segue, but this is what I don't understand. This is what I put together since the beginning of the year. Almost all the teachers who have had sex have been arrested for having sex with students since January. Have been female teachers with male students. I mean, years ago, I barely seen, I don't know if I've seen a single, a male teacher and a female student, even though for years, that's all you see. That's all you saw. Now it seems to be the opposite. And I've been, no, it's not my imagination. Female teachers having sex with male students, the numbers have gone way up. Well, and first of all, in almost all these instances, the teachers themselves are under 30. So you're talking about high school students. So you're talking about people that don't age difference between them. But, in most states, I think maybe all of them, even if you're within the age of consent, it's illegal for a quote unquote person of authority to have sex with a minor. So it's still illegal, even if consent range. But what do we? I guess we got a lot of horny women. I don't know what to tell you. I'm reading the story. There's a guy who was, and I don't think this was in the Daily Star today. I didn't actually. I'm just pulling this down on my butt because I think that it also goes along with this. There's a woman in Britain who was convicted of she's a kid, like at a hospice, and she was convicted of having sex with one of her clients. And she is 20, but her client was 29 and he's disabled. And it was consensual. Matter of fact, they said they actually announced that she was going to quit the profession to be with him, but she got arrested anyway because she did it on the company time. And the guy's disabled. It's like, you give somebody a little pleasure, she actually got caught sexually having in a car or something like that. And it's like, he's in hospice, man. Oh man, I mean, I would if I was in hospice or on my dying day and some woman wanted to have sex with me, that'd be the best gift anybody could give me. But apparently that's not good enough. These things are so complex, and some of it seems so wrong to me. But I know people have our things. And meanwhile, I got a picture I'll show you here. Giorgio Meloni, the Prime Minister of Italy, social media now. I'm going to show you this shot right here. This is her, a picture of her, but it's not her. It's created by AI. wanted to tell people that this is not her. She did not actually authorize these pictures, but she did say, she said, she's a very attractive woman. And these are very nice pictures that she said that the AI actually made her look better than she really is. A little modest. Like I said, she's quite attractive, but still, this is not her. This picture was created by AI, and she wanted everybody to know, and all around the internet. Yeah, they are, uh, and no one can escape it apparently. And Friday is the 89th anniversary. 89 years ago today, the Hindenburg blew up at Lakehurst, New Jersey, which of course was a huge deal. And the reason, here's a picture of that. The reason that was a huge deal is, first of all, it was Herbert Morrison from Chicago radio station WLS was covering it. He wasn't covering it live. 1937, there was very little non-live radio, and WLS was actually doing this as an experiment. They Morrison down to Lakehurst to actually tape his impressions of this thing coming into land, and it happened. Lakehurst, New Jersey was the landing spot. I'm going to tell you a few things you probably don't know about this. The Hindenburg, years worth of flights across the Atlantic. It was a commercial airship for passengers. It held about 96 passengers. Basically traveled in first class luxury. But they were this giant gas bag balloon was it was a rigid structure, which is the difference between blimps and dirigibles. It was a rigid structure filled with bags of hydrogen gas. Hydrogen is highly flammable, and I bet you knew that. And the reason they couldn't put any helium designed for helium is that the United States had a monopoly on helium, and because of the war, which started yet but was upcoming, and the United States knew it. The United States refused to sell helium to Germany. And so this made 2 years worth of crossings. And if I'm right, I think this was the maiden voyage of its third season from Berlin to Lakehurst, or essentially New York City, back and forth. And it took 4 days. The views out, of course, you only saw the ocean, but it was luxury travel, and this happened. Basically, people lost interest in traveling by airship, and that was the end of the industry. We don't know exactly why it blew up. The best scenario anyone's come up with is that it was raining at Lakehurst. Remember, they did the landing for several hours because of the storm. But the best anyone could come up with is that the tail, and there's no film of the explosion when it happened. They had a bunch of film crews there filming this, and they had turned started to come in. They turned the cameras off. They thought they were done. So as soon as the explosion happened, they turned them back on. But there's no explosion per se. But the best guess anyone's going to come up with is that the back of the ship was hit by lightning. The ship was coated. It was a canvas coating, but the canvas was painted with a water material that turned out that coating itself was highly flammable, which of course is stupid if you're running the giant bomb floating in the air. It was like, and you have to understand helium by contrast. The helium won't do anything other than float, but hydrogen is extremely flammable. So the theory is that the lightning struck the back of the ship, the skin started on fire, and that blew up one of the gas bags, and that ended up blowing up the whole thing. That's the best theories anybody's come up with. Although sabotage has never been ruled out. This thing left Berlin, there were several calls into the Zeppelin company saying, we're going to blow this thing up. So there is a possibility that it was sabotage. But the passenger list has been gone through carefully. gone through carefully, and basically people are leaning on this lightning theory, and there was lightning in the area. So I think it's amazing. The majority of people on the ship did not die. Most people think everybody did. No, majority actually escaped. Some passengers, they lost some crew, they lost most of the crew actually, and one guy on the ground crew that was helping to land. And they landed these things by dropping ropes down to people on the ground, and they were literally, you had 20 or 30 crew people who were literally trying to corral this thing and bring it down to the ground. So it was a really interesting way to travel. I mean, you can find numerous pictures online of the interior of this thing. It was basically first class travel. They had a kitchen on board. Here's the real amazing thing. They had a smoking room. You're riding in a gas bag bomb, and they had a smoking room, but they kept the hydrogen out of the smoking room because the smoking room was deliberately pressurized more than the rest of the ship. So the pressure in there was great, so no gas could come in, and they had a person there at all times. You couldn't walk in and out with your cigarette. You couldn't. You had to do it. You had to light it and put it out in the room. And so they never had any problems with that per se, but still, that's kind of nuts. I just like, Jesus Christ. All right. I want to thank Solomon Schmidt again for joining us. We're going to have him back again. I'm going to do my best to see if I can corral his schedule and his publicist. And again, I'm going to come back before his book comes out. We're going to have another show on Monday. We have a full week of shows next week. We got that. I can't tell you who's going to be on yet, but we got it. And I hope you guys have a good weekend. I want to thank you for watching very much. I really appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Like every dork that every video you ever seen ever asked you to do, but I would appreciate that too. I really would. Our shorts on TikTok and YouTube are still just blowing up. I've been thinking. Well, I announced this quite a few months ago, and I kind of changed my mind. I'm changing my mind again about doing maybe on Friday or Sunday nights we do a TikTok only show. I've been thinking about that. Right now, our show does not run on TikTok. Only the shorts do. And we can't run the show on TikTok because of its length. But we could and the amazing thing is our shorts are so popular on TikTok. They have cleared me for live broadcasting, even though we don't meet their criteria. I actually got a letter and an email from them. We are apparently, for the number of followers we have, we're in the 90th percentile of views. So, and they've actually said now I can broadcast live even though we don't have their minimum number of followers. So they're cool with that, and that's very complimentary. I thank them very much. So I'm still thinking about this. So we might do a TikTok only show one night a week on the weekends. So, but right now we're only live Monday through Thursday. And of course, you can watch us all the time you want, anywhere. We're even on Trovo and Twitch for that matter. So, thanks for watching. Good night, Uncle Donnie, wherever you are. And good night to you, wherever you may be. We'll see you on Monday, folks. Have a nice weekend. Take care.